The story begins in Italy in 1940 as the country enters World War II. We meet Renato, a 12-year-old boy whose father gifts him a new bicycle. Overjoyed, Renato rides all around town showing it off. When his friends see the bike, they get excited. But then one of them says, "Here she comes, everyone sit down." Renato doesn't quite understand, but the other boys quickly sit. At that moment, the most beautiful woman in town, Malina, passes by. Renato is spellbound the moment he sees her, as if caught in a magic trance. He and his friends quietly start, following her. Malina is married, but her husband is away, serving in the army. Her father, who is deaf, is a teacher at the same school where Renato studies. Malina's beauty is the talk of the town. Men yearn for even a glimpse of her, while women envy her. Renato's mind drifts away from school. He constantly thinks about Malina. After school, he rides his bike to her house and waits outside, imagining scenarios where Malina calls him inside for a cigarette. But in reality, he's lost in his own daydreams. Slowly, Renato's fantasies deepen. He steals his father's pants to get them tailored bigger, hoping to look more grown up. When his father finds out, he scolds him, saying, "You're still a kid. You should be wearing shorts at your age." But Renato remains obsessed with Malina, secretly visiting her home, climbing a tree to peek through her window, and one night, watching her dance alone in her room. The image stays with him. The next morning, he buys the same song Malina was dancing to from the music shop. At night, he listens to it, imagining her beside him. When he follows her again, he notices how every man in town looks at Malina with greedy eyes, rich or poor, officials or shopkeepers. Seeing this, something inside Renato breaks. Yet, none of these men's wives say anything. Instead, the town's women blame Malina. They taunt her and resent her, believing she steals their husband's attention. Malina never responds. She endures silently, neither fighting nor defending herself. She simply loves her husband faithfully, even from afar. We then see Malina visiting her aging, deaf father at an old house. She cares for him daily, giving medicines, cooking meals, the dutiful daughter. Renato secretly follows her there and watches from a distance. Days later, an announcement is made at the town square by army officers and officials. Many soldiers have died in battle, including Malina's husband. Rumors spread, and some men's eyes light up with hope. Malina is now a widow, and they begin to think of courting her. But Malina breaks down in grief. She weeps alone, mourning because she truly loved her husband. With no support left, she moves in with her elderly father. Renato watches her crying through the window one day, feeling deep sorrow. Soon after, when Malina is drying clothes outside, Renato sneaks in and steals one of her garments. At night, he holds it close, feeling somehow nearer to her. But when his parents find the stolen cloth, they explode in anger. His father yells and his mother punishes him. They lock him in his room as punishment. Renato stays locked inside for 3 days, refusing food and water. His health declines, and his parents call a doctor. The doctor insists Renato needs fresh air and regular meals. Once freed, Renato rides his bike into town, witnessing nasty rumors about Malina spreading everywhere. Women call her immoral, and some men question her honor. But Renato knows Malina isn't like that. She remains in his eyes a pure, sorrowful, and lonely woman. The next day at school, Malina's father receives an anonymous note accusing his daughter of immoral relations with many men. Devastated by shame and anger, he drives Malina out of their home. Alone and broken, she returns to her old house, a burden on society. One night, Renato climbs a tree to watch Malina and is shocked to see her with a government official. His heart shatters. The woman he saw as an ideal and pure soul is now involved with someone else. But things get worse. When the official leaves Malina's house, A dentist who had long desired her attacks him. The fight escalates, and the dentist's wife arrives with police, loudly accusing Malina of having an affair with her husband, blaming her for their broken marriage. Malina's reputation hits rock bottom. She's seen as a woman used by men, and blamed for it. She seeks help from a prominent lawyer who agrees to defend her, but his eyes linger on her beauty and desperation. In court, the lawyer proves that Malina had no relationship with the dentist, and that the official was just a friend. She wins the case. Yet days later, the lawyer visits Malina's home, demanding a high fee and taking advantage of her helplessness. She endures silently. Renato witnesses all this in secret. One day, while watching, he slips from the tree, breaks his arm, but his attention never leaves Malina. He is pained that she has to rely on the lawyer, with no income or pension, trapped in a cruel system. When the lawyer's mother finds out, she scolds her son, who then cuts ties with Malina. Now, utterly alone, no work, no family, no social support, and marked by disgrace, Malina cuts her hair herself one night. She decides that since trying to live respectfully brought her only scorn, she will live as the world expects, a woman hardened by pain. The next day, she appears in town with short hair, a cigarette in hand, dressed boldly. Men are stunned. Women whisper, but now they admire her courage rather than condemn her. Sitting alone, trying to light a cigarette, men approach, and one lights it for her. Malina stays silent, her mind heavy with thoughts. When she lived with honor, society rejected her. Now, living forced by circumstance, everyone wants her. Is this the true face of society? That day, she goes with a man to a hotel, having decided to sell herself to survive. From afar, Renato watches, heartbroken. The woman he worshipped is fading into a painful darkness. Every day, new men come to her house. Renato knows why. The town's women hate her. She has ruined their husbands. They blame her for their own broken lives. Malina is infamous for all the wrong reasons. Sometimes seen with soldiers, sometimes with strangers at hotels, she is a constant target of gossip. One day, Renato sees Malina with 2 German officers and faints. His mother and some older women think he's cursed and take him to a priest for an exorcism. The women's anger turns to rage. They see Malina as a threat. Once, when she's at a hotel with a man, some women burst in, dragging her by the hair, tearing her clothes, cutting her hair, shouting insults, beating her, humiliating her in the middle of the street. People watch. No one intervenes. The woman, who once was the town's dream, is now its disgrace. Malina's eyes are dry, tears long gone. Hope has vanished. She cannot stay even one more day in this town. Silently, without telling anyone, Malina leaves. Renato watches helplessly, like losing someone precious. Days later, shocking news arrives. The husband, presumed dead, returns but missing a hand from the war. The town is stunned. He goes straight to his home but finds strangers living there. The war took everything, and Malina's house is their refuge. He searches the town, asking everywhere, "Where is Malina?" People remain silent or mock him with lies and jabs about his wife's affairs during his absence. The soldier, who sacrificed his hand for his country, is now losing his soul over his wife's tarnished reputation. Renato wants to tell the husband the truth, but lacks the courage. He knows where Malina went. One night, he slips a letter under the husband's door, saying Malina still loves him and has gone to the city of Messina. That same night, the husband boards a train to find her. A year later, Malina returns to the town with her husband. She looks even more beautiful, but now carries herself as a wife. The women who once hated her are surprised by her courage and start treating her with respect. When she goes to the market, the same women greet her politely with, "Good morning." "Madame," Malina answers with a gentle smile, having moved past it all. As she leaves, some oranges fall from her bag. Renato picks them up and returns them to her. She doesn't recognize him, but he simply says, "Good luck," hops on his bike and rides away, thinking quietly. Time passed. I loved other girls, and sometimes they asked if I'd remember them. I said yes, but the truth is, the only woman I never forgot was Malina. And with that, the story ends. Now, this raises questions. If it had been another woman instead of Malina, would society have treated her differently? Is society's judgment of women still based on their silence, their helplessness, or their beauty? Are we still living in a world where a woman's honor is measured not by who she is, but by the circumstances she faces? Share your thoughts in the comments below.